What's up, everybody? This is Mood Hacker, and today we'll be talking about how you can make poppy pod tea. First of all, poppy pod tea is made from dried poppy pods of the Papaver somniferum plant, or opium poppies. These pods still have active alkaloids in them, such as morphine, codeine, thebaine, and papaverine. Well, how do you make it? First, you need dried poppy pods, and I'll include a few websites that sell it below, and they are legal when used for ornamental purposes. You buy 30 to 50 poppy pods, and once you get them, first you have to break them down by hand and empty the seeds out from the pods. Then once you have the broken down pieces, you put those into a blender. The higher power the better, until it becomes a powder, so that there's as much surface area as possible to absorb into the water. Once you have the powdered pods, you can use a coffee maker actually to put the powder into a coffee filter and make it like that. But from what I understand, it's a lot easier to just put the powder into a pot and some water and just boil. And once the water becomes a dark green or brownish color, you can use a colander or a filter preferably to get that water separated from the powder. Now at this point you have consumable poppy pod tea, and I would recommend that you either sweeten it or add lemon juice because it does taste awful. But now you have a morphine and codeine rich solution. Note that once you have broken down the poppy pods into powder, it's obviously not ornamental anymore, and you can be charged for possession. Poppy pod tea can be very dangerous because it's very hard to know what dose you're getting, and opioid naive people that don't have a tolerance to it, can pretty easily overdose on the morphine. It's for you to decide whether it's worth it or not. Note that there will be one extremely uncomfortable side effect of poppy pod tea is the inability to urinate, which it's extremely uncomfortable to have a bunch of tea just sitting in your bladder with nowhere to go. But you can become addicted and physically dependent on poppy pod tea because it's morphine, and obviously that's highly addictive. Before consuming the tea, it's best to boil off as much water as you can without burning it all, and you can actually boil all the water off and be left with a residue. That's not opium, that's just plant matter, so don't try to smoke that residue. It's not opium. People have asked me if you can inject poppy pod tea. You can, but it would take so much that you'd be doing 10 to 20 shots. So it's better when consumed orally, and this will give you a morphine and codeine high. Legally, pretty much. An alternative to using poppy pods are using poppy seeds instead of the pods. And what you want for this is the dirtiest, most organic seeds you can buy. And this is much simpler to make. You just rinse the poppy seeds in water and then consume it. And I've been told that it actually tastes like ejaculate. So I wouldn't be too interested in that, but whatever you're into. If you're so inclined, you can actually eat the leftover powder from poppy pods. You have to eat quite a bit to get an effect, but it still has alkaloids left in the powder after you dilute in water. Now keep in mind you are breaking the law if you make this, but once again it's for you to decide whether it's worth it or not. If you don't want to buy the poppy pods online, you can grow your own. You just need a little bit of yard space, or the more the better, and plant poppy seeds. And they're an annual flower, so it'll take a year to grow. But doing that, you'll have your own source. And each poppy pod will have 1,000 or so seeds in it, so you can use those too. Of course, growing your own means you can score them and extract opium latex directly from your flowers, and that has a lot more alkaloids in it than the pods themselves. But also know that if you score or scratch the poppy pods for it to leak its opium latex, you're definitely breaking the law at that point, because they're clearly not for ornamental purposes. But that's the loophole that they're using, is they're ornamental. And you can definitely overdose from this, so be extremely careful. Look for the signs: cyanotic lips, fingernails, bluing of the fingernails, lips, and respiratory depression. So if someone you're with is showing these symptoms, you'll need to administer Narcan as soon as possible. If you don't have your own Narcan, go to the emergency room and they'll save your life. This is the only method that I'm aware of where you can actually acquire something containing morphine legally. I'm not promoting drug use, but I will include some links in the description where you can buy poppy pods and poppy seeds, and it's your choice whether you do it or not. But if you do, please be very careful. Start out with a small amount and then gauge from there. And I wouldn't recommend taking it alone, because there's a pretty serious potential for overdosing, and it's hard to call an ambulance when you're unconscious. It's impossible to. So be extremely careful if you do this. That's it. If you have any questions about poppy pod or poppy seed tea, or opium poppies in general, please ask in the comments, and I promise I will respond. See you guys.